Welcome to this week's episode of For and Against, where we shall discuss the very interesting music put to tape by Japanese-born British resident Rina Sawayama.
Even though Sawayama was released back in April, this new double-disc deluxe version, which includes live, acoustic remix and bonus tracks, gives us the chance to amend the missed opportunity of regaling this unique artist with the attention she very much deserves.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with Rina Sawayama, she was born in Niigata, Japan, moved to the UK when she was 5, studied at Magdalen College in Cambridge, formed a hip-hop group with Theo Ellis from Wolf Alice, and graduated with a degree in political science. Already, her backstory generated a lot of interest in me. What does the music of a very well-educated person sound like? Ben, let us hear your description of the Sawayama sound.
Now, Johann, I don't know if it's just because I've recently been reading a particularly harrowing book about Chernobyl. I may have mentioned it before, but I like to think of this album as kind of atoms smashing together in unlikely substitutes. But rather than wreaking radioactive havoc and death, what she's chosen to do is she's smashed together the very pillars of 2000 music in nu metal and Britney Spears, basically. And you might think that sounds out of control, a kind of rogue reaction that's going to lead to mutation and transmogrification. But no, actually it works rather well. The atoms smashing together perfectly to produce one of my favourite pop albums of the year, and absolutely no irradiated cows.
Like a lot of the early 2000s Japanese pop that influenced Rina, this album sounds like a free buffet. There are shrimp cocktails sitting next to trays full of puffy pastry and the odd stodge. It is exciting to look at from a distance, but once you start piling up your plate, by the end of the meal you've discarded quite a few things, and in my case, the digital nu metal guitar riffs on Shut the Fuck Up didn't sit well in my stomach, even though it is an ideal match for the subject matter. It reminded me of that hit by Clawfinger, Do What I Say, but that's alright. Chef Sawayama still deserves the praise for putting all this banquet together with such style. It doesn't feel like she's trying to please everybody, rather that she wanted to try out a lot of things. That in itself is what defines the virtue of youthful creation.
Now, I have to disagree with you. Of course, we're talking a little bit about the deluxe edition. So, the deluxe edition for me is very much like Christmas in itself, in that there's lots and lots of good things, and then you think you've had enough good things, then it gives you some more good things, which make you a little bit sick, but you like them anyway because it's Christmas. We don't really need the acoustic versions of our songs now, do we, Johann? But I consumed them nonetheless because I couldn't stop myself, and I felt bad for me rather than for Rina Sawayama. So if anyone has failed, it's me rather than this album. Not to make it say it made me feel bad, just made me think, there she is, she's got her album out, she's in TV, modelling contract, went to Cambridge. She's pretty incredible, and what am I doing? I'm just sitting there consuming it. So a bit of self-hatred, but it's all good,
Well, this album has one of the anthems of the year, Comme des Garçons. Even though there have been no clubs open for this to become the cathartic release of hedonism it is destined to become, it shall have its day on the dance floor. We must hold on to that hope. The revered Tokyo-based fashion brand created by Rei Kawakubo in 1969 that represents a cherished and wildly creative form of DIY design serves Rina to make a wry observation on male behavior. While it will strike obvious chords with the fashionistas, it also highlights how much Rina, a fashion model herself, as you said, has in common with the legendary and mysterious designer. Mainly the fearlessness and the recycling of old materials. Kawakubo has famously used discarded materials in that mottainai sense of honoring something's existence by not throwing it away, giving it a second life. Sawayama does the same with sounds, melodies and arrangements, although she doesn't divert her gaze from the period of music she was exposed to as a child. A most excellent exercise in styling.
Now, if we're talking about fashion, what Sawayama has done here is very much like created the leather kilt. Nobody thought they wanted a leather kilt. We all thought that's a terrible mixture of things. And then a few years on, everyone thought, I'd quite like a leather kilt, actually. And Axl Rose wore one. Did Kanye West wear a leather kilt?
He did on his What's the Throne tour.
So this is exactly what she has done here. She's brought together these unlikely elements, but done it so well. She's an unusual artist. Bad Friend, for example, is a song literally about being a bad friend. It's about looking up someone on Facebook you haven't seen for a while and realising that they've had a child, and it's you, a bad friend. Now that's a very unusual subject matter for a song, but she does it all incredibly naturally. She takes us into Sawayama world, where you can combine Britney Spears and Linkin Park, and it makes sense, and you can be a bad friend, and you can write a song about it.
The song Chosen Family is not only a hymn for anyone who has ever felt displaced, moving to live in another country, or simply struggling to find kinship or basic acceptance. It is also the kind of ballad that people want to hold a candle to. In fact, I coined this term right here, right now. It is a candle song. As in, oh, I love that song. It's so candle.
I don't know where you're going here, but I really, really like it. It's a candle song. Now, with all this, what did you think of the bonus tracks?
They were very, as I say, the acoustic versions, they didn't sit unwell with me, because it reminded me of the time when pop stars would go to radios and promote their new music by playing the acoustic versions. I used to hate it at the time. I thought, I hate acoustic versions, but I miss them so much. I miss seeing musicians coming to radio studios to come and play for us, that it kind of struck a melancholy chord in my heart. So I'm all for the acoustics, and it's the Pablo Vittar remix. It's not as good as the original Comme des Garçons song, but it's nice that she's visibilizing such an interesting artist.
And Lucid?
Lucid is one of the bonus tracks added to this deluxe version that adds a lot of oomph. It really does sort of deserve the fact of rebuying this record if you own it already. It really is quite a banger for the clubs, and it gives it that extra wriggle touch.
Is anyone going to buy it, though? Is this the kind of thing you would put down your stocking? Do people even want extra bonus CDs? What do they want? I mean, I don't know how Deluxe Edition works in the age of streaming. You just go to the same streaming page and there's more stuff on it, really. Will this CD be popping its way into your stocking?
Well, see, that's my final sort of thing that I was going to say about this album. Even though I have all these wonderful things to say about Rina and the lyrics and the production of this album, I don't think it's an album that I'm going to be turning too much to it in the future, because, as I say, it's the kind of early 2000s pop and all that kind of new metal sound and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's interesting the way it's done, but I don't really have that much time for it, if I'm going to be brutally honest. You know, it just won't find its way into my stocking. I'd rather invest my time in listening to other or more obscure things, but then again, I'm a boring old git. What do I know about pop music in 2020?
I am also a boring old git, and I'm going to have to say I am entirely in favour of this record, which is for boring old gits, stuffy old wankers, and outdated old tosspots.
Well, I feel like I've been included in that stuffy old wanker kind of jab. So what did you think? What did you wankers think about this album? Please let us know in the comment section below, and make sure you tune in to the weekly review every week on RPS.